you have to understand, I mean, a lot of these folks, especially in the media, they're like, oh my God, Russian sanctions, oh, they can't buy anything. I've got to say this horseshit. You can get things here. No sane business in the world wants to drop selling their products to other countries. Building standards are way different. People learn this. The standards are different.
Tell us about that.
Electrical.
Okay,
So
let's go. Yep.
There's no standards at our dacha. It's just two wires, plug it in. If it doesn't explode, you're good. Guys, your language is backwards. The phrasing is backwards. And the letters.
The letters.
Is that a Y? Is it an R? I'm starting to learn, like, привет. Wow. Здравствуйте. That took probably 2 months to even figure out.
Здравствуйте?
Oh, jeez. That word. Hi. Easier, so much easier.
Number one advice for a foreigner who's coming here or considering to live here.
Keep an open mind. Just whatever people are telling you, it's not safe. People are going to rob you. You're going to get shot. Police are going to take you. Whatever. No, that's not happening. It doesn't happen. Unless you do something really stupid, that's not going to happen. And everybody says, Russians don't smile. No, they don't. Until you say hello and talk to them. See? See?
Hello everybody, welcome to another video of Bernd Consulting, and today we have Bernd with us. Hello Bernd, and thank you so much for making it from Tverskaya, oblast and Tverskaya as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for coming. You have a very special story, like all of our guests. So let's get, without a further ado, to it. You have lived in Texas and California, back in the States.
Yes.
And here, you have both the city life and the countryside life. Why is that important? Why is that special? Why is that how you want to do it when you come to Russia and not the other way?
Well, the first thing you need to look at is if you decide to come to Russia and move here, you need to be comfortable. Not necessarily to make yourself live in the same conditions that you lived in the States or wherever you may be, but you want to make yourself comfortable. Is this going to be a nice apartment? Is it going to be around a whole bunch of people? Do I want to live out in the suburbs? Do I want to live out in the countryside? These are all decisions you have to make. So for us, the decision was, well, for moving to Moscow, obviously, we're going to be living in the big city. So we have an apartment. But you've got to get out of the city every now and then. And coming from Texas, as country folks, we like fishing. We like just relaxing. That's where having a dacha or having another place that you can go to outside of the city really is important. It's time to wind down. It's to unwind, get rid of all the stresses.
Mind you, it's 2.5 hours away from us?
That's the stress, yes. That's the stress getting there. But once we're there...
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
But the traffic, so there's a thing in Moscow area about traffic on the weekday and on the weekend. So it's the Friday and the Sunday, isn't it, for you? What's the toughest?
There's certain times that you have to leave because if you leave at 11:01, that's it, you're screwed. You got a 3-hour drive. If you leave at 10:58, it's those 2 minutes. You can actually make it there in 2.5 hours. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Traffic, at least in the States, was fairly predictable. The morning rush hour, the lunch commute, the evening rush hour, and you know which way it's going. I'm not here. One day in the mornings going to work for me, it takes 20 minutes and sometimes 25 minutes coming home. The next day, it's 25 minutes getting to work and an hour to get home because people, they get in accidents, there's construction, and this construction pops up at random. I mean, there's a small pothole and they tear up the entire street. Just a small pothole, it's great. So it's very unpredictable here.
Yeah, it is really funny, especially it's one thing using public transport, but when you do have a car, when you gotta get places, you're just so dependent on it.
A lot of people say, well, even I agree. Living inside Moscow, you really don't need a car. There's public transportation, buses, streetcars, grab a scooter, have fun, walk, enjoy. Driving a car, nope, not happening.
Yeah, exactly. Dear viewer, if you're thinking about moving to Russia, this announcement is for you. Our company specializes in helping foreign citizens to relocate to Russia. We handle the relocation process from start to finish, turnkey, so to speak. We have over 200 cases under our belt. We help with relocations not only to Moscow and St. Petersburg, but also to any other region of Russia. Please note that all our consultations are completely free. Join our migration Telegram channel where you'll not only find answers to many of your questions, but also find like-minded people. The link is in the description. In terms of your countryside life, so the Moscow life, we got that. We've had this talked about many, many times, but the countryside life, First of all, why Tverskaya oblast? And what was it like figuring out your countryside life from being back from Texas, from California? How was it like? What things you had to consider? First of all, what were the issues? What were the difficulties? Your experience in terms of dealing with all of that?
On the good note, my wife, being from Moscow, a Russian citizen, she already had the dacha. Her parents bought it, I think it's over 20 years ago, but it needs some work. That's coming into my next part. Dacha,
exactly. Yeah.
The dacha experience.
The dacha experience.
But luckily or thankfully, we already had that. The thing about it, though, is, yeah, the traffic sucks getting out there. But once you're there, and the reasons for it, it's a place to unwind. It's not necessarily becoming nature or becoming one with nature, but it is just a place where you can enjoy, slow down, just reload yourself. Where's I going with this?
So you were saying, we were talking about the difficulties of establishing a countryside life being a foreigner in Russia. So the things that you encountered that you weren't prepared for, or the things that really got you, surprised, the things you had to consider while establishing this, sweet countryside spot in
the
Tverskaya
building
oblast.
standards are way different. People learn this. The standards are different.
Tell us about that.
Electrical.
Okay,
So
let's go.
there's no standards at a dacha. It's just two wires, plug it in. If it doesn't explode, you're good. But yeah, that's exactly what I learned. But it's constant work. They had two separate properties, and they were connected to each other. So the back property was just weeds. I've spent the last 2 years cleaning out these weeds and rocks and Lord knows whatever else they buried back there. So yeah, no bodies yet.
Not yet.
Not
but
yet. But that's the chore part of it. The nice thing about it is after you're done, you sit outside on your nice lawn, and there's birds, and the neighbors are cool as hell.
Oh.
Although they have chickens, and at 6 a.m. that rooster eventually is going to turn into soup. But for now, it's okay. But yeah, the neighbors are really cool. And that's the one thing that you have to understand, even as a foreigner. They don't speak really any English. I barely speak any Russian. I get by, don't worry. But it's the understanding, and it's the neighborly type things, which I remember from Texas, at least living out in the country. Your neighbors, even if you haven't talked to your neighbors in several months or a year, and you needed something, you go over there, they're there. They are right there to help you out if you need something. The same thing I realized here. I'm not saying the same thing happens in the city, but it's a lot tougher. Unless you know your neighbors, it's really tough. But out in the country, no problem.
First of all, is it possible to do the whole maintenance construction thing by yourself? Let's start there. Yes or no?
Yes to a point, no to a point.
Okay.
If you're comfortable doing woodwork and electrical and you have some sort of idea, it's not a big issue. It's a lot of YouTube because the Russian systems are different, at least for US. It's a totally different way to do the plumbing. It's totally different on the electrical. We have 110 volt, it's 220 out here, different standards, different devices, easier wiring, way easier here. But you have to learn it. I know there's several folks, there's one gentleman who's out in Nizhny, built his own house. He learned the hard way also on the way of finding the materials and sourcing them in electrical and that. So I actually watched his videos and learned it. Said, oh yeah, that makes sense now.
Good that there are resources available.
Yeah, the resources. Now talking to the folks at, now Limana Pro, I was going to say Leroy Merlin, but Limana Pro, talking to the people at Obi or Huff, it's interesting because why would you want to do it this way? This is how we always do it.
Good question.
Okay, this is why your dacha roof leaks and mine doesn't, and mine's warm and yours isn't. Okay, but it's a different standards, it's a different ways of building things. You just have to get used to it.
And so the things you can't do by yourself, finding labor, how is that? Have you ever had experience with finding labor here in Russia?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah, Natalia, I need some help. That's how I do it. I call my wife.
Yeah. So she deals with all the communication with finding someone to help you out in terms of.
If we need some help, she has a second apartment, so she has the handyman on speed dial. So if we need anything, she knows the resources. She does the research. Now, can I do some of the research? Yeah. Google Translate is not the greatest help, but you have to really understand the way everything works here. You have to understand, okay, well, this guy isn't just a mechanic, he's this kind of mechanic or that kind of handyman. You have to think differently, which is, again, why the first several years my wife handled everything. We're getting to the point where I can handle a little bit too, so we're okay.
Друзья, хотели бы вы выучить русский язык? Если да, то приглашаем вас на наши бесплатные уроки по изучению русского языка. Oh, sorry. Friends, would you like to learn Russian? If so, we invite you to our Russian language lessons. They are completely free and are held in small groups. For your convenience, our teachers offer lessons in several languages. The link to our educational Telegram channel is in the description. So in terms of that, would you say that the expat community here, so you're talking about all the videos and the resources that are available here, the expat community here is pretty welcoming and really happy to, give information and stuff like that. There are videos available, is that, would you agree? So you're saying that you've used that, obviously, but...
Definitely. Now, when we first came here in 2019, there was an expat community. It wasn't as big as it is now. But the resources were a lot less back then.
For sure.
So 2019, we had to learn a lot. Now there are so many available resources. There's even several other expats which offer their services to incoming people. Say, hey, I will walk you through the city. I will guide you because of the mistakes we made or they made and what they learned, and they pass it on. So progressively, it's getting easier and easier for people to come here.
Obviously, that's one of the things that Brain Consulting does as well. You're very welcome to reach out, personalize your request, and we'll be able to get in touch with you and assess what we're able to do for you. Hand-holding is basically what we do with our legal services, and now we're started to offering it across other issues and topics on things that you guys require to have a normal life here like you had back in the States or wherever you're from. So that's the great thing about it, I guess. And obviously, coming back to the legal and migration issues, we do have our dedicated migration channel where we provide a free legal consultation. So you're very welcome to take a look at the description and reach out to that. Make use of that because obviously, again, people we're interviewing our guests, they've had it the hard way. Don't have it the hard way, have it the easy way. I mean, this is the benefit of the changing times.
If y'all are offering it, use it and abuse it.
So in terms of, Russia is a big country. There are different climate zones, mind you. So you were saying that it's really similar to, you were saying California a little bit? Where you are, in terms of the summers at the very least?
Yeah, living in both California and Texas. It's closer to a California-type climate, more to the mountains. Everybody thinks, oh, California, sunny beaches. No, California is hot, it's dry, it's cold. You just depends where you live in California.
People from the valley to other countries are taking to the beach to escape the heat.
The valley is stifling right now, and Santa Monica is so nice.
We're from Ontario, and the humidity is killer. It's about 30 degrees, but, 30 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
I'm visiting from North Hollywood, and it's currently 104 degrees out there.
The beach is the coolest flippin' place to be on a hot Southern California day. And businesses and entertainers. And how are we doing in this heat wave, man?
Man, it's hot.
It's more like the mountain ranges where in the winter times, of course, you get the snow, it gets cold. In the summertime, it's not super hot. I don't think too many Russians have ever experienced plus 40 Celsius. Welcome to Texas summer.
I can't imagine, honestly.
Every year.
So it's basically a little closer to California, but still manageable. What about winters? So people do have this thing about winters, but the winters, for example, last year's winter wasn't as bad.
Last year was weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, and they're saying this year's supposed to be about the same.
Yeah, it's really
a little
warm.
warmer. Like, okay, cool. Shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah, so it's not like the stereotype about the crazy Russian winter. I don't think that's really much a thing anymore. February is the month, which is like the coldest month, I believe, but the rest is like... You get the minus 10.
Okay, so I visited my sister who at the time was living in Minnesota, and it was about minus 20 Celsius there with snow and ice. But it's so different here. Yeah, that was several winters ago. I think it was 3-4 years ago. We had the minus 20, minus 25, minus 28 for like 4 months straight. That sucked.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, here it's a little different. There's the so-called, the famous, basically Russians do, the saying about the fact that there are only 2 seasons. There's autumn and then there's spring, with the occasional really hot few days like of summer and the very cold days of winter. And there's this word called slakot, which means like wet, dirty snow kind of thing.
It's not snow, it's kind of a combination of mud, ice, and I don't know what else is in there, salt.
Yeah, and the
It's
salt
weird.
that they use to make the streets like dry. Yeah, so it's like the slush, which is like, so you gotta have, like proper Gore-Tex shoes or something. That's the key thing you gotta have, I think.
Just wear a plastic bag over your body, you'll be fine.
Good stuff. Infrastructure-wise, so what do you have in Moscow that you don't have, obviously, in Tverskaya Oblast? What do you have in Tverskaya Oblast, besides nature, that you would highlight that is different and good that's not available in Moscow?
A lot of space, not a lot of people. It doesn't feel crowded. The noise, it's nice and quiet. I mean, again, God bless the neighbors with them and their chickens and stuff. But,
Long live the chickens.
yeah, but aside from that, I mean, you walk outside and it's quiet. And you can think and you can clear your mind and you can just relax. I get outside and the first thing, horns, ambulances, police, motorcycles, loud cars, quiet cars, you don't hear. But you hear everything.
Yeah.
And you just need that time for yourself to just get away and just tune everything out.
And in terms of how good is, for example, do you have like a hospital there nearby? Do you have a good school? Do you know anything about that?
No, we are literally in this small little village outside of
How far is the closest hospital?
that would be in Cumry.
Okay.
So
Which is like
a good
about
35, 40-minute drive.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're bleeding, hurry up.
What, Russia's big. What other, I mean, you obviously had like your decision made up right from the start, but what other cities would you think would be a good fit for people who would like to have a calm life like the one you were looking for when you came to Russia?
I really can't say much about that because aside from the places that, I mean, my wife and I traveled. From Moscow,
Where did you travel?
Moscow, St. Petersburg, and a few little places in between. I mean, I'm, daily I'm in Batishi. I've seen their suburbs there, really cool, nice and quiet. But I really haven't traveled around Russia just because of things we were doing the first few years we were here, plus now with work, so it's a little bit tougher.
In terms of work, you have a pretty, I wouldn't say unique, but special kind of business here. You're dealing with American cars.
I am that exception to the rule.
Exactly.
A lot of folks, they come out here and they want to do teaching jobs or they want to get IT jobs, which is kind of tough for a foreigner. We looked into that too. That was one of the first things we looked at was IT jobs because I've got two backgrounds. We'll get into that in a second. I've got two backgrounds. One of them is in IT. Yeah, good luck. It's really tough for a foreigner to get into IT unless you know people or they have a specific opening for that specific language and skills. It's tough. Yeah, you really want me to say what I do?
Of course.
Okay.
If you're happy talking about that.
I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah,
I actually work for the largest Jeep Dodge Ram customizing shop in Russia. I am their engine builder. I am their electrical guy. I am also their tuner. With that being said, yeah, my life is crazy. A lot of people ask, you worked in IT, how the heck did you get into that? I have two backgrounds. In the States, I actually also worked for Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep dealerships.
Yeah.
I was Viper certified, yes, the cars, not the snake. And I did some of the tuning there too. So that was my past experience, IT and everything. So it's about even. I'm older. So there's about 20 years of each on experience. Which gives you an idea, I'm a lot older. But I had to rely on that. And thankfully, we met some people out here which were heavily into the American car clubs and the American muscle car scene out here. Yes, that's out here. American muscle cars are here.
Mind you, Bernd came in 2019.
Yes.
And it's still here, surprisingly
Yes,
enough.
I'm still here. Yep, still here. But we met a lot of really cool folks that were into these things, and I spoke with a few of them over the time. I almost say consulted because it's a no-no. I gave free advice, not wanting anything, but I gave free advice, and I helped out a few people. And they're like, we want you to meet these guys. So I met some guys. Holy crap, that's out here. Yeah, when you get your residency. Be right back. Yeah, Braden?
Let's go. Yeah.
Yes. But right after the residency, I mean, I'm in, I'm done.
Obviously, reminding you can only officially work when you do get your residency here. Before that, you cannot officially work, be employed, or have your own business. But after that, you do Bernd style.
Go for it.
Straight away.
Yeah, no working before that. I mean, it's a big no-no. You get caught, that's it. It's a waste of your time doing that.
For sure. So, and how are you developing? I mean, these are really peculiar circumstances we're in currently. How do you maintain? How do you stay afloat, basically? How do you manage?
You have to understand, I mean, a lot of these folks, especially in the media, they're like, oh my God, Russian sanctions, oh, they can't buy anything. I've got to say, this is horse shit. You can get things here. The supply channels are still open. They may not be direct, but they're still open. I mean, no sane business in the world wants to drop selling their products to other countries. So, yeah, the supply chains are still here. We still get Mopar parts. Yes, we get those. I still deal with and talk with American vendors. I deal with some other vendors in other countries, just because of the fact that I'm the main English-speaking guy there.
Yeah.
So I've got that privilege. And here, email these guys, talk to these guys. But yeah, the supply chains are still open.
Can you actually talk about that thing? You said that you were actually emailing some representative in America that actually asked where you were. Yeah, can you talk about that?
Yeah, that was really cool. So it's a supercharger company for those who want to know about that. We needed some assistance with a supercharger system. And the guys at work, they're like, we don't understand these instructions. Can you call the company? Okay. Grab my phone, call them up in the evening time. Obviously, time zone changes.
Yeah.
I'm talking with their tech support. And everything's going great. And the guy's like, so where are you calling from? And I said, well,
do you want to know?
I'm calling you from overseas. Okay, where exactly overseas? Are you going to hang up on me if I tell you? No, I'm calling you from Russia. Dude, that's so cool. So we start talking about that, and they start asking me, are things safe over there? And we talk back and forth. We still have a great relationship. I still talk to those guys. Occasionally I get an email from them.
Fantastic.
They're totally fine with it.
That's good. I mean, again, maybe that's your personal case, but these things do happen. So it really
it's not
depends.
the first company.
Really? Oh,
It's
good
not
stuff.
the first company.
Better, even better.
So
So you mentioned that you do have, obviously there is a privilege in Russia for those who speak English in terms of working with foreigner companies and everything like that.
yes.
About your Russian, though, how is your Russian? And how are you getting around with your Russian?
If I talk with the guys at work, yeah, I understand what they're saying just because I hear it and it's repetitive, but it's automotive talk. And it's also, well, there's a right Russian and there's a wrong Russian. It is the Russian mutt.
Yes, let's talk about that. So that's a very special...
Don't use the words though, but let's
That's
talk
a
about
very
it.
special branch of Russian language that's obviously non-scholarly or not, but really related to real life. And
yes.
That's related to slang and obviously swear words. So in
every third word is a swear word.
Yeah, every word is a swear word. So there are special, like the industries like construction, so engineering a little bit.
Any kind of, I want to call it blue collar work. Any kind. Oh yeah. Even corporate guys, I've heard, the high-end clients that come in, even corporate guys, they're right there with everybody else. So it doesn't really apply to just one group.
Yeah, it's like maybe there's some similarities to this, to like British slang. It's a very special different kind of language that's there, and you gotta learn it and understand it. But once you know it, you're the guy. You kind of know, you know it's like.
Yeah, I try to ask them, I need the grinder, all stuff. And then, I'm not going to say the words on camera. I'm like, stop it. That's 3 swear words. Was that a yes or a no?
But actually, when you do get kind of versed in the whole thing, you can actually understand by the 3 swear words whether it's a yes or a no. So you just it's about the modifiers at the end of every word. But that's a little linguistic stuff. So with your Russian, how are you learning? So you're saying that you're hearing things, you're repeating things. But what's the other way of learning Russian?
Well, I'm
for you
a lot older. So learning I'm going to say second language. Learning a third language is really tough. Especially, obviously American English, not English, but American English is my native language, along with German.
Yep.
So I read, speak, and write German.
Yeah.
I also know teensy bit of Spanish just from obviously Texas because you have to know it out there. But all those languages, they all have the same letters, the Latin letters, and everything kind of flows the same.
Yeah.
Guys, your language is backwards. The phrasing is backwards, and the letters.
The letters.
Is that a Y? Is it an R? I had the hardest time the first year here.
Really?
Okay, was that a P? Is it an R? Is it a D? What letter is this? Why are there no vowels in the words? Well, that's a vowel. No, that's not a vowel. That's a letter. I said, yeah, that's a vowel. So yeah, it's tough. I try to learn from the guys at work, and I will actually ask them, like, water, okay, cool, now we got that. But I have to repeat it.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with the automotive terms. Sometimes I have to ask them, what do you call this? Like, connector, fishka. So I have to ask them, what is this? And then we go back and forth. They also correct me on stuff like, okay, there's one piece and then there's multiple, fishka, fishki.
Fishki, yeah, the plural. Yeah.
For a while there, I'm like, fishki, and they're like,
Fishka.
no, fishka. I'm like, okay. So yeah, you have to learn that. I actually had a good friend, his wife does language teaching, Russian language teaching, and she tried, and it is just, in between the work and the home life, which, bless her soul, she's Russian. She speaks Russian all the time. The minute I get home, English. What are we watching? English language movies, American movies. What are we playing? We're playing on the Xbox, listening to English language on it. So it's really tough. And again, part of my work, I've had so many guys that ask me, you're American, you speak Russian. Dude, all the instructions are in English. The websites are in English. When I talk to the vendors, it's in English. Yeah, our main guy in the office speaks to me in English. So it's really tough. Do I need to learn the language? Of course. Anybody who comes here, you've got to learn the language. At least understand the basics. Getting to the grocery store, though, not a problem. Because the ladies at the register, they know me, and I'm that American guy.
Oh yeah, you get the rep for being the American guy, don't you?
Yeah.
How are you enjoying that, your little moment of fame? Huh?
Well, it was funny. One lady at one point, I think she's from Tajikistan, but she was, oh, hello, my friend. She's this little thing of cheese. She's like, cheese? Ruski? Sir. Good. And that's how I was learning. It makes it fun. Now, is it something that's going to get me through life here in Russia eventually? No.
But the relationship with the cashier lady will.
I have no problems with anything. 3 stores, I have no problems.
That's good. By the way, yes, you do. You must get this reputation of the American guy in your, in your building, in your dacha area. How's it like? You do get that. You can't avoid that. It happens.
I've actually had several people call me redneck too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you are definitely the redneck Russian. Because of the fact that this is about as dressed up as I get. I'm wearing jeans. I'm not wearing my boots because I didn't want mud on them. But yes, I normally wear boots. I walk around the ball cap. And sometimes just backwards. At work, they see me, sleeves rolled up, tatted out, like listening to country music.
Oh yeah.
Fridays, by the way, is country music day in my side of the shop.
Oh, okay. It's Friday. We're filming on a Friday.
I'm missing my country music days. It's just, again, moving here, I had to be comfortable with myself. I wasn't going to conform to this is Russian style. I'm not conforming to that. I'm me. This is who I am. When you move here, you got to be yourself.
That's the key thing, I think, because it's one thing, obviously, assimilating, but you got to remain the person that you are.
Remain who you are.
Yeah.
Learn the customs, learn the traditions. Some traditions require 2 or 3 bottles. It's okay.
Russians will happily provide at least the first 2, 3. Maybe the next ones are on you, but the first 2, 3.
You have to stumble to the store and find your cashier lady.
Yeah, find a cashier lady who'll sell you after 10 p.m. Yeah. It's 10 p.m. or 11 p.m.?
It's 10 p.m.
I think it's 10 p.m., yeah.
I mean, if I'm still walking around at 10 p.m., I should not be going to the store.
Okay, I see that. Why did you move? We didn't go through that.
Well, the long story short is my mom, German lady, she was having some problems, but she was in California. So my wife and I packed up our stuff. We went to California for a while, and we lived with my mom, taking care of her. She's 98 years old and still kicking. Yeah. She's my sister's problem now. But my mom, she started getting better, and my wife said, "Hey, why don't we go visit my dad? He's out in Russia alone. Her mom passed away several years before that." So we said, "Okay, fine, let's go out there." And 2.5 weeks minimum. You come out here to Russia for 1 week to visit, it's just not enough. It's not enough. So we came out here for 2.5 weeks. As the typical Westerner, and I'm going to say this to the camera, as the typical Westerner, I came out here thinking it was something like, East Berlin that I've actually seen too, when it was still East Berlin. That it was dingy and gray and, everybody drives a lot and God, that whole thing shattered the minute I stepped out of Sheremetyevo. The minute I stepped out, I was like, my God, this is just wow. I had that impression that, there was poverty and that things were nasty and there was graffiti. And that's the common misconception that everybody thinks about Russia. The thing is, you have to come out here and see it for yourself. Whether it's the small town, the big town. When we came here for 2.5 weeks, we walked around all over the place, seeing Red Square. Everybody's got to go there, St. Basil's. But that's also when Natalia took us out to the dacha.
That's a different story.
Sold. Sold. Done. Okay. My stuff will be here in 6 months. But yeah, we actually talked about it long and hard. And I've lived in the States. I've got 5 kids, 6 grandkids. So all my kids are there. They're all obviously adults. But we talked about it. I talked with my oldest kids about it too. And they said, Dad, do what you want. Okay, cool. There's still communications between them. I still communicate with several of them. Whether video, whatever it may be. But we came back to the California, and we thought about it and said, we can't really bring our cars because the taxes are just too high. That's insane. The taxes for one of my Jeeps would have been 3 times what I paid for it.
Oh my God.
I was like,
yeah, that's the sad part of it.
Yeah. So we said, you know what? We have a Subaru. Okay. So yeah, we packed everything up. We got a 10 square meter container that got shipped out with everything. My toolbox. They looked at us funny. You're taking that? Trust me. Toolbox is going. I don't care. Dishes stay here. Toolbox is going. So we packed everything up, and it was about 4 months later I arrived here. In the meantime, I was really starting to figure things out. See, the first 6 months, there was some of that homesick stuff. There was also a lot of why do they do things like that here? That makes no sense. You got to understand it. It's a different system. The politics are different. The way the bureaucratic system works is different. The paperwork is insane. Why can't it just be simple electronic? Okay. But they're getting way better now.
They're getting better.
Way better.
Yeah, still.
But this was 2019. So it took about 6 months to get used to everything. By that time, stuff's getting here. We're starting to meet people. I'm starting to learn, Привет. Wow. Здравствуйте. That took probably 2 months to even figure out.
Здравствуйте?
Oh, jeez. That word. Hi. Easier, so much easier. That is the hardest word to learn. And I still have problems with it. Coming out here again in 2019, it took a while to get used to everything. But once you get it and people come out here, they find the support people, that's where things start falling into place. Like Braden, they're a really great resource.
I didn't even ask him to advertise that, so that was just a spur of the moment. Number 1 advice for a foreigner who's coming here or considering to live here.
Keep an open mind. Just whatever people are telling you, it's not safe. People are going to rob you. You're going to get shot. Police are going to take you. Whatever. No, that's not happening. It doesn't happen. Unless you do something really stupid, that's not going to happen. Come out here with an open mind. Enjoy the scenery. Look at the architecture. Think about the history. Study a little bit before you come out here so you don't have this, what's this? What's that? Come on. Just come here with an open mind. I was actually, we were in Red Square, right where that the 0 kilometer mark is. I call it the sewer cover. The 0 kilometer mark.
Yeah.
I'm standing there taking a picture of it with my boots. Yes, in my Tecovas cowboy boots. Taking a picture of that, wearing a ball cap, wearing some redneck, Second Amendment propaganda t-shirt, and a police officer walks by. And I'm like, hello. Nothing. He just said hello, kept walking. The first thing, of course, I honey, how did he know I was American? Look at you. So anyway, no, totally funny story. So during the whole COVID thing, people that wanted to travel, we had to travel to the dacha because her dad was staying out there. So we needed this little QR code. So we got the QR code. We go out there and you have to go through a little checkpoint and they check and everything's fine. Most of the time they didn't even bother. They just kind of held it up and they're like, whatever. One time we're coming back and we get stopped. And police officer, obviously, driver's license, code. I'm like, showing him my international driving permit, my U.S. Driver's license. He's looking at it. Bernd Dieter Ratsch. Dude, he's the first cop ever in my entire life that has said my name correctly the first time. And it was a Russian cop. It was not a U.S. cop. He said it perfectly the first time. Welcome to Russia. We had a conversation on the side of the road. He's the coolest cop ever. Okay. So, yeah, a lot of people, they say, oh, cops here, they're bad. Everybody's afraid of them. Why? They're cool as hell. Just talk to them. Be yourself. But yeah, that was the funniest story for me.
It's a good hello kind of story.
Yeah.
A good hello welcoming story. That's good.
The other one was we were coming back from dacha again because we go through Dimitrov, and there's a checkpoint there. The normal end of the month got to check for tickets. We get pulled over. Cop comes over. He driver's license, registration and stuff. Looks at it. American. We not no problems. Dude, it's not like I've got an Abrams tank or an Apache in the trunk of my Subaru, all right? We've got groceries and we're going home. But we're joking a little bit. And he's, again, nicest cop in the world. But the funniest comment was he did the icebreaker of the conversation.
Yeah, I think sometimes people here, they also really want to know that, we're chill, we're good. Obviously, there are the angry kind, but...
No, and everybody says, Russians don't smile. No, they don't. Until you say hello and talk to them. See? See? But yeah, just be yourself. Get to know the people.
Yeah, be human, right?
Yes. Yeah. Don't be a redneck.
That's a great thing to end on. Thank you so much, Bernd. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for watching. Look forward for more videos. Look forward for information on our migration chat, on the Live Do Business in Russia chat, during the free Russian language lessons. Watch other interviews on About My Life in Russia channel and the Braid International channel. And thank you so much again. It was an absolute pleasure. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. Thank you for watching our videos to the end. If you already live in Russia or are just starting out and would like to share your experience relocating to Russia with others, please contact us. We'd be happy to feature your story on our channel or in our partnership projects with Russia Today. You'll find our contact information in the description. See you again soon.